Hey, what's up? This is Delio, and I wanted to make a video about how, and this is uncut. I wanted to do a word of encouragement for the young producer out there, the young cat who may see me, may not say anything, or just that young producer from teenager to 20s or 30s, whatever, that is still trying to figure it out and is still learning their craft. And sometimes this process of acquiring your skills as a music producer, you have dreams of doing big things. It can be isolating because you're not around a lot of people who do the same thing. So in this video, I wanted to just provide some words of encouragement and to just say, hey, you're cool the way you are. You're doing your thing, even though it may not seem like it. And I know it's hard to judge success on this thing. One, there's no really program. Like, you can get a degree in music production, but then it may not necessarily mean that you have a career in it. You may not want to have a career in it, or you may be happy just the way you are, creating the way you are. There's no rules to that. And so in this video, and I've been thinking about doing this video for a while. I've been wanting to just do a word of encouragement, because sometimes in the real world, off of this internet, I run into people that may recognize from time to time. More often than not, it's a younger guy, younger man. And, I was thinking about them, and I was just thinking about, and it makes me think about my journey being a music producer, coming up, finding my way. And I tell you guys right now, you have a great advantage. You have YouTube, you have so much internet access. When I got started in my music production journey, there was no internet. I think the internet really came around back in like 96, 97. I was a kid at the time, 95, 96, 97, around that time. And, there's a lot of things I wish that people had told me about that probably would have changed my life, but I can't change that. Like, for instance, like, if somebody would have told me about an MPC back in the middle 90s, and if I was educated on how to get money to get that, it would have changed my life. I already know that for a fact. I know that. But I can't change that. But this video is about encouraging you. So I know that there are a lot of social media challenges on there, a lot of challenges to be seen on there. Sometimes it can make you feel like your stuff isn't any good because, it doesn't get shared by a lot of people. And you basically say, share this stuff, and people don't share it. And then you see some weird, strange thing on your feed as you thumb through, doom scrolling, and it gets tons of views. Just don't let these views and algorithms define who you are. Yeah, it's good to make money, and that takes a process. And there are so many more ways to make money now than it was back then. But if I could just put something in the beginning of it, don't let that stuff define you, because it can really. Because if you do, let's say, all right, let's break it down. If you do let the numbers define you, it could be a very discouraging thing, because if no one wants to look at your stuff, no matter how good, you can use the best loops, and if nobody wants to look at your stuff, it makes you feel like you're not a good music producer. And not only that, if you think about those around you who say, yeah, he does music, he does his thing, but they're not really that into it or supportive. There's a whole thing, there's a whole scripture about not being celebrated in your hometown, right? If I could speculate, like, say for instance, like this is a reach, so just roll with me on this. But like, say for instance, Kendrick Lamar, right? His formative years before he blew up, and he was like that first time he walked into maybe some venue to freestyle or something like that, and nobody knew who he was, and he was doing his thing. Nobody knew him, and people just kind of ignored him. They're still having their drinks or on their phone while he's on stage rapping. To now, to when he comes home now, oh, that's our boy. But I will reach out and say, and this is a reach, and I could be wrong, but I think in his formative years, he's probably ignored by a lot of people. And sometimes those years can go on for a long time where you're ignored by a lot of people. And even that, you have to not let define you. You have to really love this stuff and really do it and enjoy your own path, which sucks sometimes because that path can be pretty tough and a lot of people don't know what that feels like. So that's one thing I just want to leave you there. Also, gear, right? Like you see gear, keyboard, stuff like that. This stuff, gear comes, guys. The gear comes. It may not come as fast as you want it to, but it does come. Now, this ties into something else. If I could just leave some advice with you. These plugins, these software, all this stuff are great opportunities to teach you how to manage your finances. Because, look, if you go ahead and crack the whole world, get everything for free, you miss out on learning a life skill. and that life skill is money management. How to save for things. I could tell you right now, right? I'll tell you a quick, short sideline. So I remember going to a music store, and this is like 90s, right? And I'm learning about samplers as a kid. And samplers at that time wasn't as simple as putting it on your phone as an app. Samplers at that time were large boxes that were expensive. And I remember one time, and I was really into sampling, but I had very limited resources, very limited stuff to sample it. I didn't know about a Dr. Rhythm sampler. Nobody told me about it. I didn't know what it was. Very frustrated that nobody told me that would click. So we went to the music store, and I saw an ASR X. I don't know how I knew it was Insonic ASR X. It was a sampler box. And I remember very vividly asking my mom, "Hey, Mom, this is what I want right here. Can I get this?" "No, we can't get that. We're not going to get that." Okay, cut. Now, what could have happened, and I could have been born to different parents. I had more research. Oh, yeah, I had this little... That wasn't the case. But I tied it into the talk book about gears. It's like this. So, knowing that this costs this much and knowing that I want it, if I were a parent coach, I would say, look, this is a lot of money right here. This is the opportunity to learn how to save for gear. This is the opportunity to learn how to manage your money. You got to develop a budget, or at least learn how to save. Teaching someone how to save is different than telling someone you can't have it and that's it. It should have been, let's see if we can learn how to save money with this. You want this thing right here? Let me show you how to save money. Let me get you an envelope or a jar. And we're going to learn how to save up for this thing. This thing is expensive, but this is a great opportunity as a formative year as a kid to learn how to save money for a purpose. It's one thing to have a jar sitting in your desk full of money in it. But it's another thing to have a jar full of money in your desk that's for a specific purpose. So all these plugins we looking at, all this software and hardware that you do not have to buy. I may talk about a lot of different equipment. I know I talk about Akai stuff, but I'm not going to say to you have to get this. That's not smart. That's not wise. That's not who I am. You don't have to get any of this stuff. But I'm saying, if you've never saved up a large amount of money for, this is the young producer, right, that I'm trying to talk to. If you never saved up a large amount of money for a purpose right now, a piece of gear could be a great purpose for you to learn how to save money on. And if you're unable to save money for gear, then you have further work that you have to do with yourself to get that point to where you can save for gear. When I got that machine studio, that was the community hooking me up. Because even then at the time, I knew how to save for things, but I had financial issues. I was a chauffeur at the time, and I was not making much money at all. It's all on my YouTube channel. It's all there. And even then, I didn't have good money management skills. So as a young producer, as you learn how to make beats, learn how to manage money, learn how to keep a written budget, learn how to have sinking funds to get the gear that you want or to get the plugins that you want, and make content along the way. So yeah, I noticed like there's a big cracking scene. Like I'll talk about it a little bit. I don't really like to talk about it much, publicly, but yeah, I know there's a scene. And the only thing is, yeah, you'll get the program or the sounds you want right there. But you do cheat the person out of the money that they should earn from it. You do get the high, oh, I got this sound, I got this plugin, but you don't learn money management skills, which then you could take to apply to other things like vehicles, cars, houses, assets that could change your life and put you in a better position to be a music producer. You could learn money management skills that can get you your own studio, your own creative space. Because I know as a young producer and you're still at home with your folks, it's very difficult to create music because you have to walk that fine line of not disturbing your parents. And not only that, or family, or roommates, whatever, you got to walk that line of not interrupting them, being distracted. And then when you want to create and they're there, and it totally destroys your whole vibe. It's not that there's something wrong with that person, but there's a certain isolation we have to have and be around certain type of people. You have to be around a certain type of person, and have a certain level of isolation so you can focus on creating your track, so you don't have distractions around you that are distracting you from the focus that you're trying to focus on. And that's not easy to get sometimes. That's a struggle to get sometimes. So, you know, you have to really keep in mind that saving money for gear is a good opportunity to learn financial management, money skills, financial literacy. It's a big deal. Moving forward, you know, if you're not around other producers or at least a scene, try to find a scene. There's a lot of scenes here in Atlanta. It's Atlanta, so it's kind of turnkey. There are producers out there that may not produce the way that you produce, that may like to do this on an SP404. They may like to do this on an MPC Live. Or they may like to grab that FL Studio and put it on a laptop. But there's scenes here, and I'm trying to see if I could document them and start sharing them on this channel in a way that can kind of encourage others to inspire others to produce and things of that nature. But there's a scene. Get around people that do that. And if you can't do that in person, do it online. There's a lot of online groups online that can help. Sometimes it's hard to go into a scene because the comfort zone is staying at home. The comfort zone is staying right here. You're right here. You are good to go. And you don't want to be bothered. And plus, sometimes people suck. Sometimes people are not nice. Sometimes people comes with issues that you really don't want to deal with. And so it's easier, less traumatic, less work to do than to stay right at home with your nice, comfortable gear. But you lose out on many people that could connect you with someone that could connect you with someone that could connect you with someone. And even I still working on that. But I've been better at pushing out to different events. And even hanging around producers that may work on equipment that don't look like my own. Like literally, I got this thing like 3 weeks ago. Been having a blast with it. So, in the middle of all this, you should create content anyway. Create content for you to document your journey. And I know a lot of people want views and stuff like that, or at least engagement. These platforms be tearing us creators up, and they don't, you know. But I think you should document what you're doing so that you can share your journey. You can really be in a good place with that. So do content, and you'll be able to see where you came from. Years go by very fast. So it's important to be able to look back and say, oh, I did this. Let's check this out. And it'll also help you connect with other people. Like I said, I can't guarantee the visibility because I know these things are crazy right now. Shorts are taking off while my main long form videos are not getting much views at all. But I've kind of been on that horse with YouTube for this channel. So that's not a thing. Create a catalog of tracks. 10 tracks, collection of tracks. Finish you a beat tape. I always say this. If you're a young producer, create a purpose around what you're doing. You have to see, some people never leave the phase of just tinkering around with this stuff and just making sound. Some people, that might be where they want to live. They just want to get there and just make noises and sounds and just chill. That's it. Never record it. Never turn it in. That's their space. But I'm saying, I think if you laser focus yourself just a little bit, there is benefits off of that. Especially if you want to be a working producer. Act like you're a working producer now. Even I still need to act like I'm a working producer right now. And I may not have big placements or stuff like that, or big, I still work a 9 to 5. But I still want to keep the skills sharp, because if you don't use them, you lose them. Definitely use the equipment that you have when you're making music. You got to really use it. Sometimes it's like, oh yeah, let me get this more. Did I finish an album yet? Why am I getting more equipment? And don't do that. Finish. I would rather you have more finished. I would advise more finished projects than equipment. If you have more equipment than you have finished projects, you out of balance. I think you out of balance. If you have more finished projects that you have equipment, you need to make a change. And that goes for me too. And, like I said, you have a great advantage on YouTube doing this stuff. You got a lot of, and I know it could kind of be a little bit disadvantaged, because as soon as you hear a positive reinforcement for something that you are looking into, you keep going down that search list, you'll find somebody else that says you shouldn't do it. For example, dieting. Some people say you should do carnivore. Some people say you should not do carnivore. There's always that back and forth. That can kind of be a hindrance. But you would definitely be shown a lot more stuff than you would have had if you had no YouTube. Family may not understand what you're doing. They don't respect it. They see it. They may not speak ill of it, but they may not necessarily respect it. And the reason they don't respect it is because they don't see it make a lot of money. It's very interesting. Like, I really wonder about these producers who have made a lot of money from this thing, how their families approach them versus the guy, the black sheep of the family, who's musically creative, but he's not famous. There's a whole different dynamic there. Matter of fact, you'll have family members say that you shouldn't be doing it, or you should stop. Or maybe you have a family member that says, you're not singing very well. Even if you're getting paid for it. Let me just say, like, I had a family member, I had an aunt, right? And made some comments about my singing performance. But it's interesting, because for years I have been being paid to sing at gigs. So it's like, you don't think I'm good at what I'm doing, but people have paid me a lot of money over the years to do this very thing that you don't think I'm good at. Don't let your own family not understanding or supporting what you do define you and your passions. Because if you do, it's not a good place to be. You're not going to be celebrated by those at home. Prophets aren't celebrated in their hometowns. We know this story. It's a different thing. And I think I'm going to stop right there, because I see how long I've talked by the timing of the video. I just wanted to just provide some encouragement, some motivation for the young producer out there still trying to figure things out. I don't know your story, but I may know some of your pains, because I've been through them, and I'm still going through some of them. And I just wanted to drop some word of encouragement for you. So hope that helps you get your day going, turn that thing on, or just reflect, or just go somewhere and chill and think about it. Right? You're watching Dilio T2K YouTube channel. I'm Dilio. I hope you like, comment, and subscribe. Be nice to reach that 100K this year so I can move on. And I'll see you later.